Well, all right, family. Glad you can join me for this last part. The part right before this, I didn't narrate anything, but we just did some exercises, training stuff, and you watched as I just worked on some things, hanging out. And now I thought I would just finish this up and narrate some more stuff. And if some of these techniques are a little bit more complicated, then just switch to an easier kick that you know. But it's good to get these ideas and concepts. So you should be warmed up or whatever. But even if this is the first video that you're jumping in on, well, the point is right now, I want you to get some knees in there as well. Getting the knees into your workout, and even if you weren't targeting them specifically as a strike, are great, because there are a lot of kicks that require you to get that knee up, to get that chamber up first before you throw the kick. And in addition, getting that knee up and stuff is a great way to work that core into it, and also your back as well, and that pelvis area, hips area and stuff. So when you throw your knee, or just lifting your knee up as a form of an exercise, you might want to play with your angles, or for your leans and stuff. So maybe your back is leaning back a little bit, maybe you're leaning forward a little bit. Here what you see me doing is, it's also very passive pressure. I'm pushing in on the shins and the knee part to get that feeling as well. And also by pushing up against a wall, it gives me an opportunity to push my knee further back into my core and stuff. So I get that tightness and that part of the triggering all of those parts and stuff. You know, the point is you're just mixing and matching and playing around with it and stuff. Here it's like the front kick, but if you can see, it's thrusting. So they call this the thrust kick. Thrust kicks in combat and sparring and stuff are cool, because they're striking the opponent, but also pushing the opponent and their long distance and stuff. Now you see just an example. I think that was a little bit more traditional, a little bit more of that snapping front kick. Play and mix and match and around with them and stuff, and you'll feel the combat sparring and self-defense aspect to it, and you'll also feel the exercise training and the muscle triggers and stuff. You'll feel those, and so highlight them and emphasize them when you do feel them and stuff, and go from there. Here we're doing the turnaround sidekick, and for those of you who can do the turnaround sidekick, we'll discuss some stuff. I think I do the turnaround a lot in this last part, or here and there I incorporate it. All right, so doing the turnaround sidekick is two of the most important things is the leg that's doing the kicking as you're bringing it. You don't want it to be a sweeping kick. Notice how it's sort of coming streamlined out and stuff. Basically, you don't want it to be like those wheel kicks, those reverse or turnaround wheel kicks. It's not sweeping around and stuff. And the other important thing is you want to make sure that you're not leaning too far back or forward and stuff, because you'll lose balance. All right, good. Now, for those who have a little bit of technical knowledge, or just want to play with the complication, or use this to inspire with other kicks, okay, it's about my footing. Okay, turnaround side kicks are easiest when that lead foot is all the way crossed over. You see there, I'm almost because you don't have to do much to bring the if you would notice, the rear foot is almost on line to just turn around and shoot forward. The more you're in a regular stance, that rear foot is, if you would notice, that rear foot is across. So it would have to come across or travel diagonal across to come out and stuff. And that's a lot more difficult. And when you do a shuffle, in order to get the turnarounds, see, notice that rear? And I'm doing a pretty close to a streamlined one, but not totally. So you see, I'm showing you stuff, and you just notice the back foot. Notice how that back foot has to come out, right? So if it's not already in its uninhibited pathway, parallel path to come out, see, there's an exaggeration one. Now that would be pretty easy to kind of throw the kick now, because it's cleared. You see what I'm saying? You get my point there. I'm trying to do this so that I don't have to do a dozen slow motions as well. See, there's a perfect classic one. Completely, look at that rear one foot that's going to do the kick. See, it has a complete line, uninhibited line. Now, depending on the stance you're in, as soon as you do the turning around, okay, your foot is going to be in that kicking. The foot that's going to do the kick is going to be in different spots. When it's crossed over, okay, you're going to have to somehow come diagonal or come to that clearing and then throw the kick. Obviously, okay, the more you have to come to the clearing, the more adjustments you have to make, and before you can get that kick to have an uninhibited line out, okay, the more you're predicting and telegraphing what you're doing and stuff. The more you're showing, and so covering that, reaching that point where you're in that uninhibited angle, by reaching that in one motion, that's kind of difficult. So you kind of sort of do coming in a diagonal well. Other classic ones is people like to do that really quick shuffle, which you saw me before. So you're doing this like complete shuffle and then you're hitting and stuff. Traditionally, when you're learning the turnaround sidekick, the teachers and whatnot, you see there, I'm making it more difficult for myself. Look at that rear. But you see that was a good one. You notice how I changed the rear into a good angle and brought it out all in one shot. Be careful. I would suggest to do that slowly and hold the wall when you're doing that. You see what I'm doing there? You see, working with this way you can work with your mechanics, you can work with the feel of it and stuff. Because not being in a completely free parallel path to throw the kick can definitely promote or increase the likelihood of getting injured and hurt on your groin and stuff like that, because you might still have that force and you might force the kick out, but you don't really have the pathway for it to come out, and that's when you get hurt and stuff. So yeah, now how can this be inspired with the kicks you're doing? Because you may not be doing turnaround side kicks. That's okay. But notice that when you're doing your front kick, when you're doing your side kick, all right, wherever both of your feet are going to give you pros and cons to the fluidity, to the access, to the ability for you to spring it out and stuff like that. So I want you to play with those positions. You'll know right away the positions that are a lot more difficult. Okay, I want you to then go to a wall or have a chair, okay, something stable that you can lean on, and then I want you to practice and play with it and see what kind of adjustments you're going to have to do. Sometimes there's no way around it, and you do have to kind of do like a couple of little small step adjustments. There's just no other way to throw the kick and stuff. In those particular cases, your feet may be really crossed over or maybe wide apart and stuff like that, and one way or another you just can't throw it from the positions it's in. Either the front foot's one or both of your feet are going to have to do some kind of adjustment in order for you to throw the kick. You see me playing around with that stuff all the time. If you're falling over a lot, get in front of a mirror or just use my expert advice or help right now to tell you. Most likely, one of the big things you're probably doing or you may be doing is you're leaning over. Either you're leaning too far forward in front of you, like over your waist, over your belly button, you're pointing that way, or you're going too far back. This could be a combination of your torso area and or your head, either or a combination of them and stuff. Look at my feet, see? So keep in mind as we're talking about other stuff and just freestyling this analysis and working out with each other and sharing it and whatnot. You'll see me all the time playing with these positions and stuff. Why? Because experts can tell right away what kind of kick you're capable of doing or what kind of kick you're going to do based on where your feet are. Is it a gimme? Is it but just generally speaking, okay? So being able to, like in a lot of different sports, being able to, like a lot of different things, being able to throw a variety of kicks from a variety of positions makes it deceptive. And also, this is not, in keeping with a cool theme here, this is not only about just combat and the martial art, but also for those people who enjoy this process, but incorporating it a little bit or entirely or a lot, whatever, in their workout, playing with those different positions are going to target different muscle groups a little bit and stuff like that. They're going to involve a consistent amount of muscle groups, but mix and match a few others from the end ranges of them and stuff. Your balance and stuff like that. Right. All right, so what I've been doing is I've been working a little bit more, especially with having a little bit of a limited space. I've been working a little bit more on trying to do these wheel kicks and stuff like that. In formal training years ago, we were required to do the wheel kick and the turnarounds and the spin kicks and the tornado kicks and whatever. There's a variety of terms for it, but you get the point and stuff like that. But as I got more to the street, I used it much less and stuff. I would prefer to use the turnaround than to do a sweeping turnaround, anything turnaround. And then generally speaking, or overall, I'd rather not turn around at all. All right. So here I'm practicing and stuff. Now, what are some of the difficulties of practicing this for somebody like me, my size, for you, for anybody? Okay. You might be fast forward, you might rewind this back a little bit. I don't know if I'll do a little slow motion for you or not, but the point is, okay, your feet have to rotate. Now imagine it was so grip-like. Imagine the surface or my ability, and my feet didn't move. Watch it. You see, if my feet didn't move at some point, whenever they felt or needed to move, you run the risk of pulling your groin, and also you're going to get that lat oblique. You're going to have some of those oblique soreness and oblique injuries and stuff. You got to give, and you'll feel it. So what you saw me do before, but leaning against the wall, that's critical. Even when my kicks are doing really great and I'm feeling really great, I'll still go against the wall because so I can play with some ideas. So I can push myself to feel the limits of what feels good, and as it crosses over into feeling wrong and why and stuff. Is that me? Is that tightness? Am I just not used to it? Or is that logically my body saying, hey, no, that's not good. You're fighting, your ability to actually stretch through that and stuff. So I'll go against the wall and I'll play with these ideas. Now, other things that I learned from myself by filming this process and stuff, and what you're looking for in these discussions or whatever, is how natural is it to go on the ball of your feet or to go on the heel of your foot? Some people are going to be very strict and insisting you must do only one or the other relative to a certain kick or whatever. I think as we work through this, you want to feel that. Probably, I don't know, who knows, some kind of combination. But it's interesting because as you, even from the wall here, you see I purposely did that. I said, let me do a wild one. You said, let me feel my leg taking me through the kick. Let me feel the force taking me through the kick. And another one, let me feel my body. So the kicks following my body and stuff. These are all different versions. So these are big deals and stuff, because some kicks, and the teacher would be there, or I would be there to tell you, okay, your body's leading the kick. So think in a timing sense, you might be a little bit late. In some particular ones, you might want to do them at the same time. Other times, there might be a benefit or particular desire or objective you have to keeping the body back a little bit. That version happens, let's say, in punching. In punching, you can lean and move and kind of go with your punch, and other ones you can go against. You can kind of sit back and do the punch. All right. Okay, so here's a cool little thing. I remember it, that I had a nice spill, I had a nice fall, so I'm going to show you this fall. These are some of the dangers for anybody, any one of us, so let's see it. All right, so who knows, I can try to analyze it or whatever, but I would need to keep pushing back and forth, and I think a combination of probably going too high and being on the balls of the foot. A combination, because as I continue to throw the kick too high, it's lifting me up, so I'm actually losing footage and stuff. Let me take a look at that again. Yeah. So in that one, it's not really that I was going. It's not that I was going on the balls of my foot or whatnot. But what happened was going too high with the kick, and this happens for any kick in our stance, our stability. Going too high meant I had very little weight on that pivot foot. So I had very little grounding and stuff. So it was easy to just slip out from under me, probably as the force reached the forward part and stuff like that. So I'm sure we'll do slow motion and have a good laugh about that. Luckily, I was fine with that. And anyone who does martial law, anyone who's practicing kicks and stuff like that, you're going to have a few of these under your belt. Well, all right, so is that going to stop us? Hell no, of course not. If it happens to you and you fall, feel it out and see where you're at and stuff like that. Sometimes it's also an indication that you're just tired, fatigued, and you're just doing sloppy technique. So stop it, get back to the wall, get back to a little bit slower type of thing. A little at a time. It's tough with all types of stuff on the ground. You should kind of overcome that, but at the same time, don't be stupid. Stuff on the ground is a lot more difficult, and even mentally, the moment you feel something, you feel like you may have to make an adjustment, So, like you saw my foot do right there against the little brick and stuff. So the moment I felt that brick, I lightened up the weight on that, because I know that that's going to inhibit me. But I may have not needed to do that. Who knows? But one of the points is the more I focus and concentrate on making adjustments there, the more suddenly I'm not paying attention to finishing the kick. And all of a sudden I may bring it down sooner than it needs to be, and that's how you can pull and stuff. So so this is a very important little part that we're learning here and stuff. Pay attention to your body. Of course, you've heard that plenty of times before. Know when you can push it, know when you can keep going, but you'd have to lighten up a little bit and and stuff. Another important thing is, you may have a really terrible workout day. I get them, a bunch here and there and stuff, and you think you're going to power through it and stuff. So sometimes it's not about that discipline of powering through it. So you can power through it, but you could pick up heaps of bad habits. Something you might do, you might do 4 or 5 kind of poor things in different aspects and stuff. And out of those 4 or 5, maybe one thing kind of sticks and stuff. So you got to be careful with that. And one cool thing is, by having such a vast amount of these workouts together, by going over these and stuff like that, you're going to be able to refine the process by listening to these conversations and theories, and just by going over them. Why? Because you notice a lot of these kicks and stuff, we're doing them multiple amounts of times. Now, what you see me doing here is, it's not about the kick and stuff. Now, on my mind, I remember, I know what I'm doing. Okay, I'm feeling and I'm playing with. Okay, I want to know what my feet are doing based on other things I'm doing. You see, is that a shuffle? How much are both of my feet or my kicking foot? How much is that? See, covering and moving forward before it releases. And should it do that? And what are the differences of that? Because there are some differences. There are some wheel kicks and stuff like that don't involve a very large arc, sweeping arc and stuff. So there are some streamlined ones. I learned a couple of the more streamlined ones, and I didn't do a lot of the movie ones as much, but we learned them as well. So we're getting close to the end. I hope you're having a good time. Now, if you're not practicing the wheel kicks and stuff like that, even if you're not doing it against the wall, the great thing about this is some details are specific to the kick, but other details, no matter what kick we're talking about, are fundamental. And once again, what we're talking about is our foot position and the relationship of that position to movements in our balance and things that we're doing, and being able to have a workout where we can play with them and target them, which was why it was important for me to show you, because me just hanging out working on things in the other part and stuff, because that's very important, to just sort of like a sort of shadow boxing type of style of just hanging out and practicing and feeling some things. All right, fam. Well, that ends it for this session. Hope you guys had a really good time. Love you very much, and see you soon.